Hello friends, it's Cindy Brumbaugh from CindyLeeBDesigns.com, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. Today I want to show you the Scenic Adventure Bundle that is in the online exclusives. And before it goes away, I wanted you to see how fun it is. Look at all the detail that's etched into the cardstock with the dies and also some stamping and a fun little campfire and some leaves. I loved adding all the different greens and blues on this card. So this one has like you can fill in, let the journey begin, let the adventure begin. Cheers to another. You're going to see what I'm going to do in the card. We're going to make a great font, a real big one. You're amazing, and can't wait to see you again. And some cute little flowers there. So I'm going to show you how I like to make these types of cards that have layering on them. I kind of lay out my pattern and then I cut my paper and push it down in, but it makes it a lot easier to make. So first thing I'm going to show you is I just realized that I am starting out with a Night of Navy, but I realized I need a Balmy Blue piece to start my card out with. So let me grab a Balmy Blue because it's most, I have a piece right here. I'm just going to cut it real quick. I find it easiest because the inside of your card is going to be 4 by 5 1/4. So I also am going to put on the outside of the card a 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece of Balmy Blue. Sorry, I thought I had all my pieces cut. So this is going to be on the inside. And whenever you score your card, your 11 inch by 4 1/4 at 5 1/2, this is the divot that's created with the scoring. I always fold it in on that mountain side, and then you'll get a nice meeting up, so they're butting up. And they're, if you do it the other way, sometimes you have a little, like a 1/32 of a difference there. But what we're going to do is, this is going to be going on the inside here, but on the outside, as I said, this is going to be 4 by 5 1/4. That's just the kind of the normal layering if you're going in 1/8 inch the whole way around your card, because your base is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So I start with this. Now I could have made this blue smaller, but I just found it easier to go ahead and build on this piece right here. So these are the measurements I'm going to give you here. I started out with this piece here, which is going to be the bottom piece, and this is Old Olive. And that Old Olive is, you just want to make sure that it's bigger than 4 1/4. I just pulled some scraps out. But the biggest, the most important, I'm always telling my husband when he has to speak at church not to say but I'm here doing it, is 2 1/2. So make sure you've got 2 1/2 in the height. And then you're going to be layering. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and use some of my, and then I'm going to run them all at the same time. So I'm just going to use a tiny bit. And I just went ahead and put this right edge right there at that side. And I want to use, because I want to have a lot of room there. So that is the one that's going to go right on the bottom. And of course it's going to be trimmed to 4 inches. Okay, the next one we're using is your Mossy Meadow, and that is this tree line here. Okay, so that tree line on this one, I think we're going 2 1/4. Oh no, we went 2 inches. And like I said, make sure it's either bigger than 4, because that's our piece. And then we're going to be running that one through. So I'm just going to put a little piece here so that I can run all of those at the same time. So that's my next piece. And then the mountain here, I actually took the mountain and made it almost 5 inches, because you can pull it around and see where you want it. So that's also, and like I said, I'm taking, this one's the one that is 2 1/2. And I'm taking it up almost to the top of that. Okay, almost to the top. So that way you're going to have enough paper to play around with. So this is 2 1/2, this is 2, and this was 2 1/2. Okay, and those are our 1, 2, 3 layers. And then this little snow cap I'm putting behind there, it actually die cuts into the paper. And then, no, I don't want to misplace my dies, because there are other dies we'll be using, the pine trees. This one can go into maybe the Balmy Blue if I would have put water in. You have a little campfire and some stars and the moon. So this piece, I don't want to lose that die. So this white mountain cap, as you can see, I'm just going to cut into where the die cut. And then I can push that behind my mountain and I can cut it to the size that looks good. Okay, so you guys, I'm going to cut these all. I wanted to show them all to you. So you take a nice little look there. I'm going to run all 3 of these through the machine at the same time using my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And I'm going to run all 3 of them through, and then we can layer them on. And like I said, the reason why I wanted to do this aside from here is I wanted to show you how I place them on the paper, or else I could have had them already done. Okay, so now that we have that 4 by 5 1/4, we're just going to layer those pieces that we have. So here's our mountains die over there. We have our layer of pine trees here. Kind of looks like ice too. That actually could be icicles hanging. Oh, Christmas card, icicles, okay. And we'll put that die. Oh, I never even realized that. And then this piece came off the bottom from this die here that has like the mounds of grass. And let's put that over with my dies. So now we're just going to build these up. And like I said, we have this little mountain that we can put behind here, and it's further away like it's snow-capped. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to put glue on the bottom of my Balmy Blue. Okay, and I'm going to place my right butt up against the bottom there. And you can probably put it over to the left side. I just want to make sure all of it was on there. Make sure we're there. Okay, and I'm going to trim that off eventually. Okay, but I only put the glue on the bottom so I can tuck things in, because the next layer would be our trees. And I'm going to put some glue. I could have gone a little less just around that edge because I am going to tuck the mountain in, but I'm doing this pretty quickly, so I don't think it's going to be a problem. So then I am just going to pull that over a little bit because that piece there, and then slide that in, just making sure that I have it, that it's kind of straight there, okay? There, and I can trim everything off, okay? Then we're going to put in our mountains, and I'm going to put glue on the bottom of the mountains and tuck them in behind. Oh, before I do that, I have to stamp the clouds. Oh, I'm glad I saw that. So I'm just using Balmy Blue on Balmy Blue, tone on tone. And these clouds just create some more texture up here. And of course, I should have put that on. These clouds are a little crookedy. So it's like, you have to try to figure out where they go. And of course, I should have had my mat down. But there we go. We have some clouds. And then we're going to tuck in our mountains. And these can go down as far as we want them to. Okay. I want to get them down below the green. I would like them down a little further, but I'm meeting a little resistance here. Okay, that's it. Bend it up, the card up. Then tuck those down there, and you've got the mountain. And you can see that this will be cut off on the side back here, so it's okay that that went a little bit. It looks like it's not straight, but it will be once we trim it down. And this is coming off too. Okay, now we're going to tuck in the snow cap here too. Put a little glue on that snow cap. And I'm going to tuck that in behind here. So it looks like a mountain that's a little farther off there. And then we're just going to turn it around, and I'm going to use my bigger scissors. You can easily do this on your trimmer as well. On my other card I just put it into my guillotine, and easy peasy. And see how now that's looking perfectly fine there. And then we're going to trim off on this side as well. Being careful not to cut into the Balmy Blue. That's always the tricky part. Okay, put all this off to the side. Okay, and it's still not looking exactly the way we want it yet, but that's okay, because you need to put it on that blue card base to really see it pop. Now I'm going to put that inside over there. You really need to put it on the blue, and then that really pops it off there. And I used Misty Moonlight for the mountains. And when I went to use the card base of Misty Moonlight, they kind of went, they matchy-matched too much. So that's why I went with a navy blue, Night of Navy, to put on there. And then, because I used that Night of Navy for my card base, I wanted my sentiment to have Night of Navy. So I've got two sets of trees here, and I hope I didn't misplace my other little guy. Oh no, he's right here. Okay, but what I wanted to do to this one, because this sentiment in this set says cheers to another, and I thought they should have put a year in there. Why not? Stampin' Up. So I'm just going to make my own little sentiment here. I used my stitched shapes dies, the little banner, and I'm going to put the cheers to another. I'm going to put that up on with Stampin' Dimensionals, and I'm going to move that up on here. Okay, and I'm going to put this, hope you can't hear my little granddaughters watching a little cartoon while Amy makes a video. So cheers to another, and I'm going to put that right kind of in the middle of the green of that old olive there. And then I'm going to tuck my trees off to that side. Okay, I'm going to put a dimensional on the tree, and I think I can fit a mini one on here as well. Okay, and I'm going to put a mini one at the top, and then take those little protective covering off of there. I'm going to tuck that tall and kind of have it just right off to the side there, except for this little guy needs to be a little taller. Oh, a dimensional. Got to tuck that in. Oh no, that's not the dimensional. That's I want to cover up. I wanted to cover. Oh wait, you know what we'll do? We'll just put this one over there, because you can see the white from the banner and it looks like the dimensional, and it's not the dimensional, but we're going to cover that up with a mini dimensional. I usually can't ever find these little guys, but they were right on my table. So we're going to stick that right there, so we can't see that part of the banner. Right there. There we go. Give some dimension there. And I think it would look cute to have put that little campfire over here. So I might do that when I finish this off. But what I wanted to do on the inside of this one is finish off the sentiment. So the piece of white for it is right, where did I put it? Oh, it's right here. Okay, so this is the white that's going to go in there. And that's 4 by 5 1/4. And that just tucks right in the inside. You get a nice 1/8 inch border the whole way around. There we go. Alrighty. And we're going to do something fun here. We're going to use the mini alphabet dies. Those are those dies you can cut all these. And as you can see, if you just put a piece of the color you want, like a circle or something over it, you can cut out individual ones. And I cut out the word year. So I wanted to say cheers to another year and an exclamation point. So we have them, the words here. A, Y, E, A, R, and get a little bit on here, little glue, not too much. I think I'm gonna have to get my little tweezers out here, and an exclamation point. Static electricity, get off my finger. Okay, and the little exclamation point. Let me get my little tweezers here, and we can put that word year. Okay, so we could put it really neat down here, straight, or we could make it look like, cheers to another. Let's just put it kind of cattywampus here, so it looks like we wanted it to look. Because if you try to make it look straight, it won't. But if we pretend we wanted it crooked, it'll look like we are design wizards here. Okay. Whoa, stuck to my finger. This one actually looks like he should just be a little bit closer to the E. There we go. So it kind of looks like I wanted it to look crooked. So this one can say, cheers to another year. And I do believe that this needs something right here. So that would mean I should probably get out these two little dies. Hey, this is a good chance for me to see. Now you take a look at here and see how they're just a little bit different. I might have cut it like just a tiny bit. I started out with the measurements so that they would, you know, make sense how they layer, but I might have, you know, moved it just a tiny bit. But if you go with the measurements that I made for each one of those colors, you're going to have more success of getting that. Oh my goodness gracious. I just had, oh, thank you, Stampin' Jesus. You know, we have Stampin' Jesus at all my classes. He sits right up by the Big Shot. And somebody said, do you think Jesus is upset you call him Stampin' Jesus? And I said, no, I don't think so, because he's the Jesus, he's the God of everything. He's the God of your every need that you have. And so he knew that I needed this die that went flying, for it not to be lost. So I just praise the Lord that I know I can depend on him for anything, because he cares that much for us. Okay, so let me put this little, I'm gonna put the fire like right here, this little fire. And this time I'm using some Darling Duckling here. I wanted to see if I like the orange pumpkin pie better or the yellow fire. I did try to color in red flames on my fire, and I didn't do a very good job. So that's why I just picked a color to do. But super easy to do. Just start out with your layering. Start with the 4 by 5 1/4 Balmy Blue, and then I did 2.5 for the old olive, which is like the grass, and then I did 2 inches for the Mossy Meadow pine tree, line of pine trees, and then for the Misty Moonlight Mountains, I used a 2.5 as well. And I just kept it up to the top of the page, and then the little snow cap, and then I put glue on the bottom here, and then I tucked each one down in. But having the base to work with, it really does make it a lot easier, and you can trim off what you don't need. Because when you cut it, you might have some scraps that are 4.5. You might have a scrap that's exactly 4. You might have one that's 4 1/4, 4 1/8. So that way you can use whatever's in your in your drawer, in your place where you keep your scraps. So I just think those are adorable. Cheers to another year. There you go. Just breathe and take it slow. That's a good one. Just a nice get well, or just relax. Somebody's going through a rough time. Just tell them to just you know, relax, breathe, take it slow. Things are going to be all right. So take a look at that one, online exclusives. It's been out for a while, so you're not sure exactly when it's going to be done. And so make sure you take a look at my Busy Bee bag. I'll be using a new set coming out in the mini catalog September through December 2025. It's called Peace on Earth, and it is going to be some beautiful cards in there. Busy bags are great value. For $45, you get 8 card kits with the envelopes, a written tutorial, and a video, and $22 to $25 worth of product in there. So I think if you talk to anyone who gets them, I think they would give me a thumbs up on it. I really appreciate everyone that's participating. And also, I have paper shares going on until September 2nd. When I can order on the 3rd. So you get a sampling of all the different papers, ribbons, embellishments that are coming out in the September online exclusives, and also in the new mini catalog that'll run till December 2025, starting September 3rd. So a few different things to take a look at, but just jump over to my blog, cindyleebedesigns.com. Right underneath the YouTube description, you'll see a link. Visit my blog here. Just press that. It'll take you right over there. Additional photos, and you can see some of the tips of what I did for this. Thanks for buzzing by, friends.